What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. And of course, I love looking good and I love to smell amazing. I'm sure you've heard a lot about this fragrance house. If you've been into fragrances for any amount of time, I'm pretty sure you heard about the house of Parfums Vintage. Parfums Vintage is a house that makes, if you want to use the word clones, or if you just want to call them fragrances that are inspired by other fragrances, whatever you want to utilize, however you want to refer to these fragrances from this house, and feel free to do so. But again, they make fragrances that are very similar to other fragrances. And they were kind enough to send me a few fragrances a couple months ago. And I actually took some time to really kind of go through the fragrances, wear them, get a really good idea for how they perform, and the whole nine before I brought a video to you guys about them. So tonight I just want to take the time to kind of go through some of those fragrances, give you some information on them, and give you my take. So if you want to know what my take is on the fragrance house of Parfums Vintage, then keep it locked right here. Okay guys, I am back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're gonna go ahead and jump into these fragrances. I do have 5 on the list tonight that I want to discuss. So let's go ahead and jump into the first one, which is, I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce this correctly, but it's Excision Intense. Now this one is a clone or inspired fragrance from Bleecker Street. I'm pretty sure you guys that actually follow my channel know that I'm a huge fan of Bleecker Street. Actually a huge fan of the Bond No. 9 house, period. But Bleecker Street is my favorite. And I can say, I've worn this fragrance and I am wearing it today because I'm sampling all of them again to remind myself of what they smell like. This is a really, really good Bleecker Street inspired fragrance. One thing that I will say about the fragrances overall from this house is that they all really have good performance, and that's something that I can really, pat the creator of these fragrances on the back for. They all perform very, very well on my skin, so that's a big thumbs up. It's very, very similar to Bleecker Street. I would say it's about, this one is about 92-93% very similar to the actual scent from Bond No. 9. So again, it performs well. It's very, very close as it relates to the overall smell. It performs well, so it definitely gets a thumbs up for me. Again, this is Excision Intense, and this is a 50 ml bottle. All the bottles that I have are 50 ml bottles. The next one is probably one of the most popular fragrances from this house, and this one is Pineapple Vintage Intense. As you guys can see, I'll put a little dent in this one. It is my scent of the day. And again, of course, this was inspired by Ventus. Has very, very similar note breakdown, as is the case with the other fragrances from this house. The notes breakdowns are very similar to the fragrance that it is mirroring. So you have the black currant, you have the apple, you have the birch, that kind of burnt birch thing that Ventus has as well. All that is in this one as well. And again, it is very, very close to a Ventus. Again, great performance out of this one as well. Not a slouch. I've worn this today. I've gotten 2 compliments already, so it's definitely one of the most recognizable ones from the house, and it's a good one. I think it was probably like the second fragrance that they launched. The original was just Pineapple Vintage. This is Pineapple Vintage Intense. Again, a 50 ml bottle. The next one is Evolution de L'Homme Swarm, and this one is the Elysium clone, the Elysium clone. And again, this one is really, really good. I really enjoy this one. I have it on my hand right now. Now, I love Elysium as well. The only problem I have with Elysium is that it's very, very subdued even from the initial spray. Now, I do get great performance out of Elysium as far as longevity, but that initial blast, that first hour, a lot of times when fragrances are really, really projecting, I'll never really get a huge projection from Elysium. And at the price tag of, $300, that can be an issue for some people. It's a little bit of an issue for me, but I do like the fragrance. But what I can say about this one is I get that blast, that first hour or so. It's in my hand right now. And I don't know if you can really see this, but I sprayed this some time ago and it still shows the oil concentration, which shows that it's a very there's a very high concentration of oils in these fragrances. So I get that blast, that initial blast that I want from Elysium. I get that from this. So what I may start doing is when I wear Elysium, I may layer it with a couple sprays of this, maybe 2 sprays of this, to kind of give me that projection that I want, because again, it's very, very close. Again, over 90% similar to Elysium. So this is Evolution Day Long Soir. The next one on the list is Verbatim Fields. Again, another 50 ml bottle. This is the Green Iris Tweed Cologne. Now, for me, out of the 5 that I have, this one is the least similar to the original of all the 5 that I actually own. This one is about 85%. This one is a little bit sweeter than Green Iris Tweed and not as green, if that makes sense. But it's sweet. It's, again, like all the other fragrances that I have from this house, they're very well made. This one is the least similar of the fragrances that I have. This one is about 85%, where the rest of these are probably 90 and above as far as the similarities to the original. But again, another good one. And the last one that I have here is Rush of Unicorns. Rush of Unicorns is a Elysium Imperial clone. Again, great performance out of this. Very similar note breakdown to Elysium Imperial. What I will say about the Parfums Vintage fragrances that I've smelled that mirror the Creed fragrances is I definitely get better performance out of these than the newer Creed formulations. So I think anything probably pre-2014 for Creed, they really, really performed well for the most part. Once they got to 2015, 16 and on, by the year, the performance started to really kind of take a dive, in my personal opinion. So these Parfums Vintage inspired fragrances that mirror the Creed fragrances, I get better performance out of these than those newer formulations of Creed. I can't say that. But again, from the Elysium Imperial, this is a really, really good one. This is one of my favorites right here. Again, this is Rush of Unicorns from Parfums Vintage. All these fragrances from this house come in either a 50 milliliter or 100 milliliter size bottles. Those are the only 2 sizes that they produce, and they seem to range between $79 to maybe $139 or so for your 50 ml bottles and your 100 milliliter bottles. Now, in my personal opinion, my overall assessment of this house is that it's a very, very good house. There are parfum concentrations. They have, very high oil concentration in the fragrances. You can see it when you spray it on your hand. And again, it's evident to me in the performance, because with most of these, I get 6+ hours of performance out of these fragrances. They project pretty well, and this has been pretty consistent across the board from what I have. So they're great performers. As far as the value for your money, this is where things always gets tricky for me, because I believe that value is so relative to somebody's budget. What is a reasonable priced fragrance for me may not be a reasonably priced fragrance for the next person. It's really all relative to budget when you ask me. But I will say, I think for the price, I think they do make some great fragrances from this house. When I think about value, I'm looking at, of course, how they smell and how they perform as it relates to that value. And yes, they are fragrances that were inspired by other fragrances, but I do see and pick up the quality. If you look at a lot of clones of some of these other fragrances that are done by other houses, a lot of times they are similar, but only for like maybe the first hour or so, and then you really start to really see a big difference in the quality. I can say that these are very well-made fragrances through and through, and that's my honest, humble opinion. Again, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about these fragrances, so I'll leave a link to the website This is not although they were sent to me, this is not a sponsored video. I don't have a discount code or anything to send to you guys. Again, just wanted to kind of talk about the fragrances that I had because they were sent to me, and just give you guys my honest opinion and overall assessment of the house of Parfums Vintage. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. That's my time. Thank you guys for taking the time out to watch this video. As I say, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with me, and I sincerely appreciate that. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my video. Now, why would you guys do that? Huh? Because I'm the bow-tie fragrance guy, man. And I love to look good, and I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good and keep smelling even better, because I'll catch you on the flip side.